Hi there, it's Simon, Ableton Certified Trainer. Welcome to this playlist. I've put this together to explain key concepts of Ableton Live, hopefully to help you gain confidence in making the music that you want to make. I'm going to be adding videos to this periodically, so if you subscribe, you'll get a notification to tell you when I'm adding more. Thanks for watching. So first things first, we need to check whether there is actually any MIDI information coming into Ableton Live. So I've got my keyboard here plugged in by USB, and if I just hit a key, if you look at the screen there, you can see there's notes coming in, and also at the top here is your MIDI monitor. So these should be flashing, and this one at the top is MIDI track in monitor. Now there's lots of videos online and stuff, and the actual Ableton videos on their website are really good for setting it up, but it should just automatically connect. Most of them do now. And if you go into preferences, you want to be looking at MIDI here on that. But I'll link to a video that shows you in case you've got any issues there. So I've actually put this MIDI monitor on. Now this shows you, tells you what note you're actually playing, which is really handy. And it's on all versions of Live this. So MIDI effects, MIDI monitor. You see I've got that in my favorites. And just shows that you're actually getting MIDI. Tells you what note you're playing. So another that I'm going to use to show you what note I'm actually playing is called Keyboard Monitor. Now this is a Max for Live device, so to use this you'll need to have Max for Live, which is in 11 and 12 Suite versions, or if you've got standard you can upgrade and buy it. So do make sure, if you want to get this, I'm going to put a link to it in the video description. It's made by Sidebrain, Ableton Certified Trainer based in LA, and it's just so handy, because you can see if I press open, it opens up here. I can make it bigger, I can make it show 61 keys, which this has, and I can also make it bigger. Now when you play this one, if you look here, this will tell you what chord you're playing. You can move the octaves up and down, and you can see what your sustain pedal there, and it does so much, right? But all we're going to use it for is I've zoomed in, and it'll show you what notes I'm playing. Anything that I hold down, you can see what I'm playing. So just in case you want to know what I'm playing, that'll show you. So really handy. I'm just going to park that there, but it shows you what chords as well. So I mean, that's just like brilliant. It's good to actually just figure out what you're playing and things like that. So I'm using the upright piano, which is by Spitfire Audio, and it's an Ableton pack. So you can see what notes I'm playing. I'm going to touch the keyboard. You can see here. Let's make this a bit bigger. So you can see all the notes. And the channel is armed and ready to record. And I'm just going to press some random keys, and you'll see why. So what I'm going to do is use capture. Now capture is like a retrospective record. What that means is you can play something without hitting record. Keep playing notes. And I'm just going to press all these things now. Now, say for example, I did land on something and I like this kind of C minor chord. If I go like that, you can see C minor. So say I played something like that. I know it's nothing special, but so I sort of figure it out and thinking, okay, I wish I'd have recorded that. And that's kind of where capture comes in. So you can play anything. And if you look here, the BPM is at 120 beats per minute. Now, obviously, I didn't play that. I was playing a bit slower. So from what I call a standing start, if you open Live, and then I've also got my upright piano ready and waiting for me, as soon as that's armed and ready to play, everything that I've played since I've opened Live and started playing, whilst I've been talking to you, it's actually been kind of listening in the background. So if I now play something else, so if I go, and it's going to work out what tempo I'm playing this at, because I'm not even counting, I'm just trying to play something. So all the noodling and faffing around I've been doing since talking to you, if I now hit capture, watch what happens. So it creates a clip. Now, if you look here, it's actually started it on beat. It tries to work out what the tempo was. According to this, it's 157. I'm not totally sure about that, but if you look, you can see starting on bar 13, it's just looped a selection for me, which let's have a see. But if I just
move back and see all that little noodling around I was doing there. It's captured all that as well. So that could be where the genius was. You did this one thing that was perfect. So capture takes the pressure off pressing record. So even if you did something that you like, rather than press record, as long as the channel is armed, so as long as this is kind of waiting for you. So let's just say I want to play this, right? And I know this is what I want to play. Just a C major chord. And then rather press record, I'll just press capture, and it should. I mean, come on, that's great, isn't it? So that's how I record MIDI now. I don't hit record, I just play. And then when I think, yeah, there's one there, press capture. So that's why I've done this in this order, because no matter what your skills are on the keyboard, you could do it all day. I don't know exactly technically how long it listens for, but it's long enough for you to get ideas. And it just as soon as you start playing now, it sort of resets, because I've just pressed play on that one. But if I stop that clip from playing, and just do something again, I can't think of anything to play, but just like, so if I just do some chords, and I think, oh yeah, I like that chord. If I hit capture now, it will make a new clip with that in it. So just don't hit record anymore. There's no need. There obviously is some times when you'll need to. Which leads me to the next part. So despite capture being awesome, there are plenty of times where you'll need to record something in a specific place or bars. So I'll just show you a quick way how to do that as well. So obviously we're going to hit record on this one. But there's always a way to kind of help you. But what I'll do, I'm in arrangement view now, so you can see as you're building up like a timeline. So imagine you've got a full track here, and I'll just get a drum loop from Chord library, so you can all get access to this. Let's have a look. Full, and I'll just use something. Yep, that'll do. So I'll drag this in onto an audio track, and I will make it last 2 bars. Okay, let's make it 4, because then give me a chance to get going. So I know that I need some chords here. Okay, so I'll arm my piano, and I've got like 4 bars. Let's say 4, right? Yeah, I'll go up to 4 where the loop is. Now I could loop it round, and it'll just repeat and keep recording over itself. And I'll save that for another time, because it does something quite cool but a bit complicated that I don't want to. Don't be concerned about it right now, but you can create takes. We'll look at that in the future. So I've got my piano sound. So I'm going to record 4 bars. So I'm going to hit record, and if you watched the other videos in here when I was doing on this playlist, in session view I was doing I've set the record up. So when you hit record up here, it's waiting for you to tell it to record. So if you go into preferences, I'll change that for here, because it makes more sense to just play like a old school tape recorder. So if I go to record, warp and launch, I had mine set to start transport with record. So I've turned that off. So when I press record, it doesn't do anything until I tell it to play, which when you're triggering scenes or launching scenes, check the other videos out if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll put a link up there. It's in this playlist anyway. And if you don't want it to do that, then it's handy, really handy. But in this case, I want to hit record and let it just play. You get a counting anyway, so I'll show you that. So on this time, I'm going to start transport with record, turn it on. Now, depending on how you make music, you choose what you want to do. It's not something you probably keep turning on and off. I don't know. Sometimes I just change my mind how I want to do it. But in this case, if I've just got the cursor here, I'm just clicking into space. So if I press record, I'll get a counting. Now you can change the counting under the metronome there. And you can have counting 1 bar or 2 bars. Now I'm just going to put 1 bar to save you from the boredom. But you can leave the metronome on or off, but in this case, I've got a drum beat, so I'm using that as my sort of time. So if I press record, it's just going to start, gives me a counting, and then it's going to start playing. And then when the drum beat comes in, I would start. But I need to start playing straight away. So I can either practice this until you want to do it and you just play through and find the best bit. So I mean, I actually would do that. So I've got 4 bars, I said, but what I'm going to do, I'll just press record, let it play, and I'll just start playing, right? So, and the best thing about an arrangement view is it is where it is. So if I just play something, and then I'd probably like loop that round. So I let it go for 2 bars. So all I need to do now is I can go into here and I'm going to cut into it. So if you right mouse click, you may see split. So it's called split in Ableton Live. So Command E or Control E, do that. So it means I can get the clip, split it, and I want to delete that bit. Just backspace or delete key, and now it's. So I actually wanted to do it up to there, did it the wrong place. I mean, you can do that as well, just sort of move it there. I'm going to pick it up and move it there. So then I've got 4 bars. And then it ends there. If I wanted to loop it, I could, if you remember from before, Command L, activate loop, or I could duplicate it, Command D, and just basically copy it. Because this was a loop, I just stretched it out. But MIDI's not always as simple as that. And if you double click, you can sort of move this out of the way. You can see the individual notes. And we'll go into some MIDI editing on other videos. But just for now, I'm just trying to help you get notes into live so you can do it. So that's one way. You hit record, you've got a counting, and if you put it on loop, it would just keep going over and over itself, keeping everything you've done. But that's something we can look into. But because I turned the loop off, it recorded it in place and just kept going. So doing it that way takes more practice, and you have to play it in time. Now my timing wasn't great, so I'll just show you something really quickly. And it's just called Quantize. If I double click on there, open this. So I'll just move the keyboard out of the way. So if I click on all the notes here, and the quickest way is Command A or Control A, just like documents with text in Word or Pages or whatever. If I press Command A, it selects all of the notes. And what I want to do is quantize it. And what quantize means is it snaps or moves the notes to the grid. And this grid at the moment is set to 1/16 over there. So it's going to move it to the nearest 16th or semiquaver for all you schooled musicians. And things like this, it's not quite on beat there, so it'll move it. Now, I've selected them all, and then you can either right mouse click, and if you can find it amongst all these, you've got Quantize and Quantize Settings. Now, you press Quantize, it's just fixed it, and it's moved it there. But if you want to have an understanding of what actually goes on under the hood, if you press Quantize Settings, it opens up this window now. In Live 11, it looks a little bit different. You get a box, but this is now incorporated into the MIDI tools over here. So if it looks different on yours, don't worry. And what you can do now is you can actually select how accurate do you want it to do. So this one's going to move it to the nearest 16th note, and you can make it adjust the beginning and the end, or one of each. I'm going to put both actually. So now it's just done it. I mean, you can reduce the amount. So if I put it to 0, watch what happens. As I move this up, it starts to move it right up to the bar lines and a bit more accurate. So depending on what it is, you could be playing a drum pattern, or you could be playing a bass line. You may not want it to be super on the grid. So let's see how it sounds anyway. So this way of recording MIDI is, I suppose, is considered the old school since 1982. This has been the way you record it. You select your sound, you get your BPM right, metronome, record something in. If it's a little bit out of time, you can correct the timing using Quantize. That takes a bit more to get your head around, but there are simpler ways than that. I've kind of started with the one capture where you mess around and find something, happy accidents. This one is when you know exactly what you want to do, and let's show you a way that's easier than all of them. So this method, we'll call it the step recording method. It's not saying it's a hidden gem, but it's not like dead obvious how to do this. So this one, you don't have to play live at all. You can just hold chords down for as long as you want, and it will record them by step. Now for this one, you need to create an empty clip to put them in. So there's a couple of ways of doing this, but the easiest one to do is, we're in arrangement view here. If I just select the time, so it's actually 2 bars from bar 5 to 6. So it's 2 bars. If you right mouse click, you can insert empty MIDI clip. And if you can, try and remember Shift Command M or Shift Control M. It takes a while, but that's what I do. I'll just do that and I'll just go Shift Command M, boom. And you insert an empty MIDI clip. So now there are 2 bars. So I'll just close and I'll move it out of the way because you don't need to see up there. So now I've got the drum beat at the bottom, which is this. And it's just going to play round and round. Now, you can do like capture where you kind of fiddled around and found something. So I'm just going to go an F major chord, which you can see up the screen there. So we've got F. And then I'll just do it with one hand, so keep it simple. So F, and then I'm going to move it to a something like that, yeah? So all you need to do, you need to make sure, first of all, that this is enabled, which is your MIDI note editor preview. It's like a monitor so you can hear what you're playing. Now, if you then go like this, you'll know it's working because you can hear notes. If you deactivate that, you can't hear. So this is actually quite easy. You can adjust the length of the chord you want to play, but first of all, just find the chord you want. Make sure you've got it enabled, and you can move the cursor to wherever you want to start. Now, I'd recommend start on the first beat. If that's what you want, you can change it. So I'm just going to hold down the chord. In this case, it's an F chord. And now if you press the right cursor key on your keyboard, as in your computer keyboard, you can say how long you want that chord to be. So I'm just going to make it 1 bar. And then you can see this is where we're up to, the locator is. Now I can find the other chords. So you don't have to wait for the metronome or capture isn't listening. I'm just going to go. So I can find this chord. And it's that one. I like it. And then do the same thing. I'm using my left hand to use the arrow to move it along. Now this time, just for argument's sake, or just to make it different, I'm not going to go all the way to the end. So now if you press play, you should get... So now, as long as you move the locator, so I'm using my arrows now. I mean, you can click as well. But if I wanted to just maybe repeat this chord again, but leave a little beat difference there now. So then if I go back to the MIDI keyboard, hold that down, and then tap the right arrow. So now you can kind of see what I've done. I've held a chord down, tapped it across to a full bar. Then, as long as you make sure where you move this, you can then record whatever you want. So that's what it sounds like. Let's play it. So not the greatest chord progression in the world, but you get the idea. And if I press Command A, and then if I wanted to do something a lot more rhythmically complicated, so for this, I'm just going to loop 1 bar, just so you get the idea. So now I'll just click on beat 1, and I'm just going to press the chord. Now this time, if I let go of the chord, I can put a gap in, press it again, and I can do different lengths. So now there's a bit of a rhythm. And then if you want to adjust the length, just select the chord and then you can just drag it to whatever you want. Now this will snap to those gaps, the 16th notes. You can see it snaps. If you want to turn that off, if you hold Command, it will allow you, or Control on a Windows, you can just put it wherever you want and you can adjust the length. So you should now be able to just think, okay, I like a particular chord, so I'll just get rid of all that. So I'm just going to pick a totally different chord, like C or whatever. And the rules are, wherever this locator is, now just let's say, for example, you didn't want it to start on beat 1, you can just move this to wherever you want it to go. Hold the chord down, play it, and go, yeah, I like it. Hold it down, and then just tap to the right to whatever length you want it to do. If you let go, though, and then put it back on again, it will do it as if it's another time you've played it. I hope that makes sense. So if you play it and hold it down and then tap right whilst you're holding the chord, it will kind of sustain it. But if I let go and press it again, it will make a new, sort of as if it's been played again, a new sort of instance of it. So listen to it sounds like. So depending on what effect you're after, that might work. And also, just one last thing. But yeah, basically, if you wanted to do a bass note, or, you know, I won't change the sound, but if you wanted to make a bass line, so I could just hold that down. And then if I wanted to make the note attack again, I just let go. And then, well, it depends actually, I want to do another one right next to it. If I wanted a gap, I just tap to the right. And so on. If I wanted another note, so now play that. So that way you can literally feel your way around, and where capture, you still had to play it, this you can just do it by step. And some people really like to work in that way. Like personally, if it's a hard chord that I'm not very good at playing in real time, I'll do it like this because I can kind of figure out a complicated chord, sometimes just one hand, and then I'll tap the arrow to the right, and then I'll rewind it, and then I'll put the bass notes in as well. Let me know if you want help with that. I can do one that's a little bit more further on for the next steps, but that's the easiest way to kind of get your MIDI in. And I did say there'd be one bonus at the end to make this even easier. Okay, so I did promise there is one easy way to play chords in, and this is like playing a chord with just one finger. So I'm going to show you how to set it up, because it's easy to play in, but in order to actually record what you played, there's a little bonus bit at the end which you need to take in. So first of all, let's do this. I've activated this Cursor Pro thing because it's kind of easy to look at. So right mouse click, and we're going to insert empty MIDI clip. So we're also, when we click into this, we'll keep it at C minor, which is automatically done because that was the last one I used, was C minor. So we've got this now. And what we want to do is we're actually going to focus on the MIDI device itself. So we're in the device view, and I've got two keyboard monitors open. Now the reason is, I'm going to show you, the one on the left is what I'm actually playing, and the one on the right is kind of the result, as in the end bit. So I'm going to put something in between these two keyboard monitors. So when I press a key, it's adding imaginary extra fingers. Right, that's the way I'm going to explain it. So imagine you're going to use one finger, but it's going to add two other fingers on, right? So if I go to chord here, I can just double click it. There's all presets and stuff here to give you sort of types of chord, right? Because the one I'm going to play, it works out it's just a major or a minor chord. It's 3 notes. It can get more complicated than that. I'll explain that in another video. But just for now, use the actual chord. Insert it in between these two. So what happens now, imagine I'm using one finger to create 3. Now, first of all, if I did that, it would try and make a chord, but it would just not know what key I'm in. And in this case, we know we're in C minor. So if I press this, this is our use current scale button, and it means it will match the MIDI notes of the key that's in the clip that I've created here. So all we need to do now is add these notes. Now you can do it manually, and if it's activated, you see these scale degrees. If I turn it off, the semitones, and semitones are like the distance between C, C sharp, D. These are semitones, just one half step it's called, semitone. But there's an easier way than that, right? So first of all, watch what happens though. When you activate this, it's filtering notes that are coming in. So watch what happens. I just happen to know we're in C minor. So instead of going C, D, E, look on the left one, which I'll play. But it doesn't sound like it, so I'll turn it off. Listen to the difference. So that's C, D, E, Do, Re, Mi, yeah? The old... Okay, so that's C, D, E. When I turn this on, look at this one, and it should play C, D, E flat. But I'm playing C, D, E, right? I'm only going to play these notes, the white notes. I'm not going to play any others, but it's going to filter and create others from it, which is, if you don't know music theory, don't worry, because this if you follow this, it will unlock the ability to play all of the major and minor keys, all of them. Watch anyway, we're nearly there, I promise you. So this is the incoming notes. So I'm going to play an E, right, with E flat there. I'm going to play an E, right. As soon as I turn this off, you'll hear what I'm actually playing. So that's the E, and that's the E flat. So I'll turn it off. Okay, so it's actually made that. I play an E, it comes out an E. So turn this on. I play an E on this one, and this one squeezes it down because it knows that's the way to go. That's the basic concept. You play the notes in, and it puts them all right. Okay, it distributes them across the chord. Okay, so that's the first thing you've got to be aware of. It's doing that. Now this filters the notes coming in, and then you can make a chord shape using these. Remember I said it was the fingers, so this basically says how many keys apart is each finger. So if you press, we're in C, so if I press a C down, and then if I play one, miss one, play one, miss one, which you've all probably tried on the piano at some point. If you watch this one here, I'm going to go C, E and G. Right, if you do, these are triads, 3-note chords. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this chord, and rather than dial it in here, because you might not know the scale degree or the semitones, you just might not know. So this way, there's a button called Learn. This is awesome, right? Hardly anybody talks about this, but what Learn will do is if I play, it doesn't matter this way, whether it's a major or a minor chord. All you need to do is basically, if you watch this screen here, I'm just going to press F, miss one, A, miss one, C, which is basically play one, miss one, play one, miss one on all the white keys. So if you do this, this will work, right? So as soon as I press the chord now, it will change these. So I want it to do F, A, C. So I'm going to go F, then A, then C. So the first one, it thinks is like the root of the chord, and then you add in one and then add in another. So if you look on the left and look on the right, it's changed that. But when I let go now, I want to turn Learn off. Now what should happen is when I play one key here, it should add those fingers on with those spacings in between, which are semitones or degrees of the scale and all that lot. But you don't need to know that just now. I'll just sneak it in, right? So if I press one note here, okay, I press the note C, but C, E flat and G came out, because now this is going to be filtered the notes into the key of C minor. So you don't even need to know that, but that's what it's done. If I press C sharp, if you look on here, I'm pressing C sharp, but there's no C sharp in that key, so it just duplicates. So when I'm pressing C on the left, then C sharp, it's triggering the same thing because this note isn't even in the scale. So that's what's happening. One finger, look at the one on the left, C, C, F, F, G, G, but it's coming out as C minor, C minor, F minor, G minor. I think that's amazing. So shout out to Marshall. Move your body indeed. So yeah, it's like a 1-4-5 chord progression. But again, don't worry about that too much. We'll go into that another time. So just to go over that again, this is what I did. In fact, I will reverse engineer this just to see how you got it, because there's another part to it. I'll just get rid of it completely. There's my 2 keyboard monitors. You can do this with the normal MIDI monitor. I'll do that as well, just so you can see. No smoke and mirrors. MIDI effects, sorry, I just totally lost then. And MIDI monitor, but we want another MIDI monitor. I'm going to hold Alt down, put it there. And now we want to put the chord in between. So this is the note I'm playing. We're going to put a chord in between. That's the note that comes out. Okay, that's really important you get that bit. So it's, you can, if you can work that out, theoretically you can play anything. So now I'm going to play an even more complicated chord, but basically this is C on the left there, and we've got to make sure that this filters out anything I play here. It just transforms it into C minor. You can't play a wrong note. Amazing. Now we want to add notes. So if I do on the left one, C, play one, miss one, play one, miss one. Okay, and if you look on the left, it says it's a C major chord, but we're going to make it so it comes out as a C minor chord, because it's already, if you know the chord already, then it's already transformed it. So if I can play other chords, it transforms them for me. But we don't even want to play it. We're going to play it with one finger. So the one finger is whatever note you press, and then this shift 1 and shift 2 is whichever finger you use. So what we're going to do is hold a note down, press learn, okay, then go. So that's the kind of pattern of the gap in between the notes. Make sure you click off learn, otherwise it just replaces it. And then now I press one finger. There's your C coming in. I'm pressing a C, but it's coming out as a C minor chord. So these are the magic fingers. But now I can go. Okay, now there's only one final part to this. If you want to record it, watch what happens if I just record it as it is. So yeah, you guessed it, it's only recording the notes that I'm actually playing. So if I click on the instrument rack, you can see that you've got the MIDI comes in. If I just play it, oh, I recorded over my note. Try that again. So there's a C coming in. See, look, no hands. So there's the chords. So that's the chords it's spitting out. Now we want to potentially have those chords like this, full chords where you can see the notes. So what you have to do, and I do believe that Ableton themselves posted a video over the weekend, and it was showing exactly this, like if you've made an arpeggio or something like that, if you want to record like the resulting MIDI. So basically, if you're thinking like a flow of water or something, that's the pure water coming through, but now we've added these ingredients, which are an extra finger basically, then it comes out as this, and then it plays a piano. The notes get recorded basically there, what come in, which is like the way that MIDI works, and it's actually really useful. So it's cool that it does that. So those notes coming in, and then we can transform it to do all kinds of amazing things. In this case, we've made it just add an extra person or a finger to compress a note for us. So if you sort of carry that concept with you, there's loads you can do. Add another MIDI track, and where do we want the MIDI coming from? All inputs and things like that. Computer keyboard? No, we want it to come from the channel called number 1, upright piano. All you do, I'm just going to press play, hit record, and it starts recording them. You can go round again. So once you've done that, you've basically created chords. You can change the instrument to something far cooler and do all kinds of stuff, which I'll explore in other videos. But the principle is one finger. You can make it play up to, how many is it? Let's have a look, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can have 6 extra fingers. So one finger, and you can just one key will add all those, and you should theoretically be able to play any chord. And if you kind of use the method that we've shown, you will be able to play any chord in any key. That's the actual concept. So good luck with that. Let me know how you get on, and yeah, please do like and subscribe. There's a really nice community of people starting to follow, send messages and stuff, so do join, come along for the ride, and thanks for watching.